First of all, I posted an assignment this morning. It's optional. Okay, it's 5 questions, 4 points each. Due Friday night at midnight, 11:59. Okay, so you can do that if you like. It's up to you. It is October now, like October 3rd. So I've got a couple honors government essays to finish up, and then I'll grade your maps. I will not give you a map quiz before this. Okay, so I'm not going to burden you with a bunch of extra stuff, so you can focus on that. The optional homework, you guys can take time to do that if you want. It's up to you, okay? Tomorrow, I am going to be with my house. We're doing our service project tomorrow. So I probably won't be back for 4th hour. So I talked to my first hour. Hey, what's up? Yes, sir. We won't get back early?
Yes, very much.
Yeah. I'm hoping to be back for 5th. Yeah. 12:45, we should be good. I hope. So I'll teach 0 hour and 5th hour. So I talked to my first hour about this, and I let them decide. They have 2 choices. One, I teach 0 hour, I record it, and then I play that recording for you guys. The sub plays that recording. Or I had talked about we're going to read an article about fascism, and that's what we were going to do today. But I decided, first hour decided, that you guys would read this article and answer 3 questions from it tomorrow in class. Worth 9 points, which you can do in 20 minutes, 25 minutes tops, which will give you a little bit extra time to work on your calculus or whatever, physics, or whatever you're doing. Okay. So they decided for all my classes. So I wrote these questions up a little while ago during my plan period. I'm going to cut them in half. You guys will get this with this to read tomorrow. That's the plan. Wednesday, I'll pick up where I leave off today. Good? That's the plan, Stan. Okay? So you get 9 points. You'll turn that in tomorrow during class. You got to do it in class. Okay? So there's 9 points here. There's 9 points. Okay. Good? Good. All right. So we're all caught up on administrative stuff. The NRA, like I said, guys, is going to be declared unconstitutional. Today, we're going to learn about the PWA, not to be confused with the WPA. And they can be confused. Public Works, Works Progress. Okay? So let's get into what that actually means. Start with the Public Works Administration, which you should be somewhat familiar with. Hoover did this when he built the Boulder Dam, which today we call what? Hoover Dam. Public Works. It's government creating work, creating jobs. Okay? And this one, guys, is almost all focused on building construction. Okay? This is going to be headed up by Secretary of Ickes. Secretary of Interior. Okay? Now, they're going to build sewer systems, schools, post office, hospitals, tunnels, like in places like New York City, housing projects, and even aircraft carriers. Yorktown and Lexington will both be built by the Public Works Administration, or the enterprise, sorry. So this is just putting people to work, man. These people are going to get their hands dirty. This is construction work, okay? Which will be a little bit different when we get to the Works Progress Administration. You guys were born in what? What year? 05. 05? 04, 05? Okay. the Wichita Eagle came out with an article about 6 months ago that said for the first time in your life, and it's first time since I've lived in Wichita in 95, that there has been no road construction on Kellogg. For like the first time in your lifetime. Now, you guys have only been driving a couple of years, so, you know, it's been, I mean, it's something like you avoid at all costs was driving on Kellogg with all the construction. Now, the last couple of years, it's mostly been down way on the east side, down by Webb Road. But I can remember, I mean, heck, that overpass from 235 coming onto Kellogg going east, that's relatively new. So a lot of, you know, it's nice. Kellogg used to be like Central. It's just a road. And now it's, you can get from the east side to the west side on pretty good. Not bad. You don't have to avoid it like the plague anymore. Now, on the north side of Wichita, northeast side, they're doing that interchange at 135 to K96, 235 interchange there. That's going to be nice, especially for people that live west and work east. Like if you live on the west side and you work over at Coke, that traffic is bad to and from work. Okay. Let me give you a little life advice. Now, some of you guys were born on the west side of Wichita and will live on the west side of Wichita the remainder of your life. That will be your existence, like it has been for some of your parents. Okay? But if you work east, every morning you're looking into the sun. When you're driving home in the fall and winter, you're looking into the sun. So if you ever move to a new city, you want to live on the east side and work on the west side. Because the sun's at your back on the way to work, and the sun's at your back on your way home from work. You don't have to look into the sun. Does that make sense? Yes. Yeah. A little piece of life advice. And I am an east sider. I know, it's tragic. You know, people are different on the east side and west side. You know that, right? They really are. Those people over there, man, they're snooty. Kind of stuck up, rich, you know. That's why I like the west side. I like teaching at Bishop Carroll. It's kind of got more of a blue collar feel, a little bit more rural. You know what I mean? See, my kids went to school on the east side through 8th grade, the Christian school there. Most kids from the Christian school went to Trinity Academy. And I told my kids, I said, look, I can save a lot of money if you guys go to Bishop Carroll. Plus, it's a good place. So I asked my kids, are you happy that you came to Bishop Carroll, even though you were like two of the only non-Catholics in the school? Which can be hard at times. They said, oh yeah. They're both really happy that they came here. Because of people like you. Because they really didn't have a lot, they didn't have friends when they came here, you know what I mean? Like they didn't know anybody. Lily knew like a couple volleyball players, that was about it. My son knew a couple baseball players. It's a good move for them. Now, I'm just rambling so you can write. You understand, right? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Are you done yet? You don't have to write this last thing down. This is like repetitive, okay? Just go to here. All right, so the Federal Emergency Relief Act, this is what Hoover said he would not do. So like if you were in trouble, Hoover would loan you money, right? Was Hoover known for giving loans? Yes. He's not going to give you something. You're supposed to pay a loan, but I know. Today you think, I get a loan, I don't have to pay it back, right? Because Joe Biden, right? I don't have to worry about that anymore. That's not the way the world works. Okay? So Hoover would give you loans because he's not going to give you something for nothing. You have to pay it back. Okay? times are changing, my friends. Oh my, they are changing. So Roosevelt's going to give $500 million. Congress is going to give $500 million to the states, and the states are going to give that in cash payments to the unemployed. It's the first time we ever do this, is our government ever does this. Okay. Now, people that didn't like this idea, your old Hooverites, okay, are saying no. This is the dole. Okay. Everybody that's on this is charity case. You shouldn't be doing this. Okay. Well, we're doing it. We're still doing it. Okay. Today we call it welfare. Back then they called it the dole. Some people still refer to it as the dole. Okay. Now don't take this the wrong way, guys. Okay. Some people refer to this as like the government nipple. Okay. So you are getting your sustenance. I'm serious. It's a term. You know what I mean? Like you're getting your sustenance for life from the government. You're on the government dole. You're on the government nipple, if you will. Okay. It's a word. It's a thing. Okay. So now New Dealers, people that supported this, said that every citizen was what? Entitled. So if you're entitled to something, what is meant by that? Does it mean you're owed it? It's owed to you? Is that what you? Yeah. It's yours to take. Anybody else got a way of describing entitlement? Okay, possibly something you don't have to work for. Yeah. Any of you guys go to St. Francis? Okay, so you have Father Jared Lease over there. Yeah, he used to be the pastor here. Yeah, he used to be the fatherette here. Okay. Sometimes when you listen to a homily, you remember it. Most of the time you don't, but occasionally there's one that kind of. Come on. You want to see the rest of the class? Make those included now? Yes. So sometimes there's a homily and it's like, and it sticks with you. Does that ever happen? Right? Occasionally, maybe? Okay. Well, I remember Father, it was an all-school mass, Father Lease, talking about 2 high school students about entitlement when it comes to all the things that your parents may do for you. Okay? Do you take it for granted what mom or dad or mom and dad do for you guys? Just like you expect it. And you're not really grateful to them for it. Does that make sense? So that made me think about like my kids. You know, I think my kids are entitled to all the things that my wife and I did for them or still doing for them. You know what I mean? And listen, my mom made dinner every night. We didn't eat out very much. She cooked, and she could cook, man. She's a Southern belle. She knew how to cook. Her mom taught her how to cook. And I only had to be reminded of this, I think, once. When she cooked dinner, it's expected that you say thank you for making dinner every time. You know what I mean? Like, it's a challenge to cook for a family. I know this because I do it a lot. I probably cook more than anybody in my house. My wife's busy. She works later than I do. And so she's tired. So I do more cooking than she does. Plus mine tastes better. Now her lasagna's good, but other than that, I rule. Okay. So listen. Say thank you for all the things that have been done for you. And pick a time, like when they're not expecting it. Okay? You know how good that'll make your mom or dad feel? You know, if you genuinely show gratitude, okay, I think they'll really appreciate that. You're not entitled to really much anything. Maybe a roof over your head and some food. I mean, as a parent, okay? And guys, we have an entitlement society. It's somebody else's fault. It's not my fault. Okay, things have changed in this country, and now I was kind of making a joke out of it that you don't have to pay your loans back anymore, but in reality, you don't have to pay your loans back anymore. Okay, so I mean, it leads to more and more of this. Okay, the welfare system of this country has been abused. It's become a way of life rather than a safety net for people. When people fall in hard times, that's what it's there for. But you're not supposed to be in hard times your whole life. It becomes a crutch. It becomes an entitlement. I expect this now. For doing what? Nothing. Okay. So what Hoover was worried about society-wise, I think, has come to fruition in many ways. Harry Hopkins is going to head up this program, the Federal Emergency Relief Act. Okay. And it's changed and has become more prevalent today than ever. All right. So that's your Public Works Administration. Then we switch courses here, and we're going to talk about works progress. Okay. And this will be up here for a while, so kind of listen and write. Now, guys, Roosevelt is pushing the envelope here a little bit. Okay. Friday, we talked about the National Recovery Administration as fascism. Because this is socialism right here. There's a lot of examples of socialism in the New Deal. This is probably the best example of it. Okay. Now, you remember, we had the Red Scare in the 1920s. Like, people are afraid of communism. They don't want communism. And then you start to get this government control here, like this, and people start to become a little bit afraid of it. But this is going to help a lot of people. So this is like Public Works, but it's got a different flavor to it. It's got more of an entertainment flavor to it, as I'll explain. So between 1935 and 1943, they're going to spend $11 billion employing some 8.5 million people. A lot of people in Kansas will benefit from this, and all over the country. Now, this word progress, this is a code word. Okay? The word progress can be extended to progressive. Kind of has this idea of leaning forward, progressing. Okay? This is a code word that is used by socialists and Marxists. Okay? Progress. Progressives believe that government is the answer to your problems, that government can solve your problems for you. That's what progressives believe. Okay? That's what socialists believe. The two kind of go hand in hand. So when you go back and you read history, like you're going to be reading tomorrow, you'll see this term, progressive, okay, or progressivism. Woodrow Wilson. Okay? Read about that, learn about it, okay? Now, guys, there's going to be a lot of construction with the Works Progress Administration. But it's, like I said, it's going to have an entertainment flavor to it. So, guys, you have people that are getting their hands dirty building stuff. Okay? But what about these folks? Those that are talented authors. Those that are talented actors, musicians, and artists. Maybe we don't want them to get their hands dirty doing construction. We can use these folks for other things. like authors and artists preparing guidebooks, decorating buildings with murals, stuff like that, writing plays, performing concerts. Now, if you are a musician, is it easy to make a living? Huh? Depends on how you go about it. Right? So, like, we know some musicians do really well, right? Like, name Shania Twain. What's that one lady that everybody loves? Is that Shania Twain? Who's the one that everybody loves? Katy Perry? Who's the one that just got released from her parents' custody? Britney Spears? What's her name? Who's the one that everybody loves?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. Everybody loves Taylor Swift, right? Jack? Sure. I can't name one song she sings. But I like Foo Fighters. Heard of them? Huh. You haven't heard of Foo Fighters? You like them? They rock. It's like one of the modern bands that like actually does rock and roll. You know what I mean? What about Jay-Z? You know him? He makes some money. What about Eminem? How do these people make money? They get a record contract, right? But the other way they make money is by performing concerts. Now with Spotify and Pandora, guys, these artists don't make as much money on their music anymore. You know what I mean? They used to, like, people would go buy their albums, go buy their CDs, go buy their cassettes, and they'd make a lot of money on that. But now they got to perform concerts, go on tour, and they make money off of that. Okay? Well, in this case, guys, people don't, during the Depression, people don't have money, lots of people to go pay for a ticket to go to a concert. So Daddy, Uncle Sam, is going to pay the performer to do a free concert. And people get free tickets to go to the concert. The government's paying for it. Who's your daddy? Uncle Sam's your daddy. He's paying for all of this. Okay? That's what socialism is. You don't pay for it yourself, the government pays for it. Okay? God, this is stuff they do in Cuba. Okay? Now, we're in a depression. People are hurting. Government's going to do this. Call it what it is. Socialism. Okay? Some people are okay with this. Some people aren't. Roosevelt is going to be re-elected in 1936. He's going to be re-elected in 1940. He's going to be re-elected in 1944. Apparently, somebody likes this stuff. My dad didn't. My dad hated Roosevelt. If you got great grandparents still around, ask them how they felt about Roosevelt. Okay? Obviously, the majority of Americans liked it. Okay? Now, once upon a time, I moved to Wichita, Kansas, summer '95. I'm like, man, what am I going to do in Kansas? Well, I heard Kansas, Wichita, is a baseball town. I'm like, really? It's a baseball town? I like baseball. Did you guys know that back in 1930, about 1930, this is downtown Wichita, this is the Arkansas River. There was an island in the middle of the Arkansas River. And they had an amusement park here called Wonderland with the world's longest roller coaster at the time and a baseball stadium on the island. How many of you guys knew about that? Okay. Pretty cool. It's called Ackerman Island. okay? And there was a guy named Hap Duma that said, we're going to start hosting a baseball tournament starting in 1930 at this stadium on Ackerman Island that would bring in college players in the summertime to play, and they called it the National Baseball Congress World Series, or the NBC World Series. That started in 1930 right here. By the time the Depression hit, the Works Progress Administration is going to say, we're going to build Wichita a new baseball stadium. The Works Progress Administration. And what was that called? See, I knew this day was coming. We built Riverfront. People would forget about the old stadium. You had to go down there as kids, yeah. Lawrence Dumont Stadium. See, we're already forgetting. Okay, because in previous years, guys, I had students that they all knew Lawrence Dumont Stadium. Did any of you guys go down to the NBC tournament when you were kids and run around at Lawrence Dumont Stadium? You
I'm a football
okay? Well, your dad played baseball when he was a kid. Dad played everything. He was a three-sport stud athlete, like his kids. Now, guys, this started in 1930, downtown Wichita. Now, this poster's from 2006. This is one of the teams I coached. This was the 72nd. So for more than 80 years, it's been a tradition in Wichita to host this summer tournament in downtown Wichita. Then we built a new stadium. And last year, for the first time in over 80 years, they did not host the NBC Baseball World Series in downtown Wichita. They hosted it in Hutch, at Hobart Debtor Stadium, and at Wichita State on campus, which is different than going to downtown and playing at the stadium, the city in the background. Okay, it's different. For that reason, I've not been to one Wichita Wind Surge game, and I will not go to a Wichita Wind Surge game until they bring the NBC back in the summertime downtown. Now, I think they've gotten enough gruff over it that we're going to do it. Okay, but that 80-year tradition, gone. Now, we're hosting a football game there this weekend, but 80 years of tradition gone down the drain. And that really pisses me off. Okay? I have great memories from Lawrence Dumont Stadium, guys. I mean, I got to coach down there. Pass the picture around. Anybody? There it is. Yeah, so this picture here is me coaching in front of a large crowd. Okay, the team I was coaching was called the Wichita Gators. It was only 1 year that this team played, and we made it to the NBC World Series. And this is me coaching third base. What I love about this picture is one of my close friends, and used to coach here with me. Used to be one of my assistant coaches, the umpire behind home plate. It's got me and Mike in it. I'll pass that around. And it's probably the biggest crowd I've ever coached in front of. And it was fun. Okay. I got to play in it as a player. I moved here when I was 28 years old, 27. And I was still playing baseball. Okay. Cool story. You want to hear my story?
Yeah.
I don't have any baseball players in here, so they've all heard it before. Okay. So listen, guys, I grew up playing baseball. I played soccer for like 2 years when I was a little kid. Never played any other sport besides baseball. Played 4 years of college baseball. 5 years I did a redshirt year in junior college. Okay, I didn't have a scholarship out of high school, so I walked on in junior college and then redshirted. That's how bad I wanted to play. I was not very good. I didn't have a scholarship. Okay, but I loved the game. My parents loved the game, and so I kept playing. Now, by my sophomore year, redshirt sophomore year, I was a starter. And I earned a scholarship. And I got a scholarship for my last 2 years where I played every game. And I could not give up the game. So when I lived in Florida, when I moved back to Florida after college, I started my own team. It was an adult baseball league. I sponsored the team. I was the player and the manager. So when we made a pitching change, I came in from left field and I changed the pitcher. I was the manager on the field. Okay, we won the Florida State Championship, the adult baseball championship. I got a big ass trophy at home from that. Okay, moved to Kansas. There's an ad in the paper for the National Adult Baseball Association in Wichita. I'm like, well, I'm going to the tryout. I'm going to try out and I'm going to keep playing because I love baseball, right? And I want to coach. And so the tryout for the National Adult Baseball Association, the first baseball field that I stepped on in the city of Wichita when I moved here was Bishop Carroll Baseball Field. That's the first baseball field I stepped on in 1996. Okay. I went number 2 in the draft. Had a good tryout. Okay. And so I got to meet a bunch of people in Wichita that played baseball. These were all older guys, you know, in their 20s and 30s and 40s. And then I met some people, and that's how I got into coaching in Kansas. I coached at Friends University for 1 year. The head coach from Friends University got the head job at Bishop Carroll. And I did my student teaching here under Mr. Finkeldye and Mrs. Berry. Mrs. Berry, any of you guys met Mrs. Berry? Okay. Her son is the JV soccer coach, Dan Berry. Okay. So I student taught there, and then I ended up being an assistant coach, and then became the head coach. That's how I moved to Kansas. And then I played in the NBC, and because our team was good, adult team, we qualified, and I got to play in the NBC a couple times, and then I've coached in it several times. So it's like home. You know what I mean? Like this is important to people. Okay? And so when they took that away, very upset. I'm holding a grudge. Your dad probably played in the NBC several times. Okay? And just how important that is to Wichita. Okay, so that was built by the Work Progress Administration. We played Junction City in football last Friday. Went up to play them in baseball about 10 years ago. And they have this beautiful little stadium up in Junction City that was built by the Works Progress Administration. They've updated it since the 30s, but it's this beautiful little ballpark. Okay, so a lot of people benefited from this. National Youth Administration, this is for young people. This guy, he's a college student. He can attend Boise Junior College by teaching this class in the art of self-defense at the local YMCA. Dig the boxer shorts there, right? Okay. And then this is not a march. This is a parade, okay, celebrating the NYA, giving young people jobs. Okay. All right. Now, do you think that there are politicians out there that are upset about this socialism? Roosevelt's a Democrat. Who's upset with him? Republicans, okay? Now, Republicans are on the right side of the political spectrum. Democrats are on the left side, right and left politically. You with me? So Roosevelt's going to get attacked from the right, violating the Constitution, right, which happens multiple times. And from the left, he's going to get criticized for not doing enough to help people. Okay? So we're going to look at, for the next few minutes, the politics of this and how Roosevelt gets attacked politically for this new deal. Okay? Before I get there, political cartoon here real quick. You've got Harry Hopkins here. He's got more work relief. You've already got the Dole industry saying, whoa, hold up. Congress comes in and says, step aside, boys, I'll handle this, as the national budget sails away. One of the questions on the optional assignment that I gave you is about what's called Keynesian economics. Guys, when there is an economic slowdown, recession, depression, Keynesian economics says The government should spend money. If the government spends lots of money, then that will increase economic activity and we will pull ourselves out of that depression or recession. Okay, we do it every time. We're really good at this. The government spending lots of money and running big deficits. So right now we're trying to put ourselves into a recession to get rid of inflation. And once we're in the recession, we'll have to dig ourselves out of that recession. And one way to do that is to spend money. The government spend money. You with me? That's Keynesian economics, and we're good at it. Okay. There's the USS Yorktown. This was built by the Public Works Administration. We'll be talking about this during World War II. This is an aircraft carrier. Okay, one of a few that we had. This one will help us win the Battle of the Coral Sea, but will be sunk by the Japanese at the Battle of Midway Island. All right, thunder from the left and from the right. Some people on the right will form the American Liberty League. I think I told you this yesterday, and just remember this when you read tomorrow. Fascism is not a dirty word in the 1920s and 30s like it is today. Okay? Socialism and communism are a dirty word in the 1920s and 30s. They are dirty words. Kind of like capitalism is today. But not really. Now, the American Liberty League, their goal is to combat Roosevelt in some of these policies, combat radicalism, preserve property rights, and uphold the Constitution, which we know has been violated several times already. Now, if you Google the American Liberty League, one of the first things to pop up is you're going to find out that there was some radicalism within the American Liberty League as well. As the government broke up a plot to assassinate Roosevelt, that plot originated from this American Liberty League. So they got some radicalism of their own. Yeah. So that's thunder from the right. We talked about thunder from the left. I'm going to talk about three people. What time do we get out of here? Okay. So, Father Coughlin, Dr. Francis Townsend, last but not least, Huey Long. You guys heard of these names? Any of these names? Father Coughlin is a radio priest. Now remember, there's no TV, so he's not like a televangelist. Okay, and there's some pretty interesting history with some of our televangelists, like Jimmy Swaggart and others that have gone to jail. Okay, I think the guy that's on TV most now is that Joel Osteen guy, from Houston. You guys have heard of these like mega churches, like where like 10,000 people show up on a Sunday morning in Houston at one big like convention center as a church. Okay, the one that Joel Osteen has in Houston used to be where the Houston Rockets played basketball. It's huge, and they fill it up almost every Sunday. Okay, now I'm not into that personally. Okay, I like a little bit smaller church, but anyhow, Father Coughlin is very critical of Roosevelt. saying that he is not doing enough for the poor. He's got a huge following on the radio. Okay, so if you're not able to go to Mass, you can listen to Father Coughlin or his commentary before and after Mass. So he's very popular, and he's coming down hard on the president. Not doing enough social justice for the poor. Okay. Dr. Francis Townsend is a self-proclaimed advocate of the elderly. Now, guys, if you're elderly during the Depression, there's no Social Security at this point. So the elderly are very vulnerable, yes? So this is an interesting idea. Tell me what you think about it. Every old person, say over the age of 60, gets $200 a month, which is a lot of money back then. That $200 a month is going to take care of the old person. They can get health care, they can get a roof over their head, they can pay for food, medicine, whatever. Okay, $200. The catch is they have to spend it every month. This is that Keynesian economics. Make sure the old people are taken care of. At the same time, they are spending money, which will stimulate the economy and maybe bring us out of the Depression. It's an interesting idea. You're worried about the elderly, don't you think? Now, guys, Social Security is coming Wednesday. So it's around the corner. We're about to add Social Security to this, okay, to the New Deal. It is part of the New Deal, Social Security, that you all know about, right? You've all heard of Social Security, right? You all have a Social Security card, got a Social Security number. And maybe, just maybe, when you turn 62, you might be eligible to get some money back for that, from what you've been paying into it. Okay, if it's still around then. Because by 2037, which, let's see, that's 15 years from now, Social Security will not be solvent as far as the way it's structured right now. It will run out of money. Great. Are you still paying into it? Yeah. Am I paying into it? Yeah. Will I retire? Will I get to 62? Yeah, I'll get to 62 before then. I'm gonna start cashing in right away. But you know, if you wait till you're 67 to start taking Social Security, you get a bigger check each month. You wait till you're 70, you get an even bigger check. I'm cashing in. 62. I don't know how long I'm gonna live. I'm gonna start getting some of my money back. You know what I mean? Even though that doesn't make a lot of sense. And then there's Huey Long. He is the governor of Louisiana. And as you can see from this photograph, he is very dynamic. Okay, I'm going to play you a video of Huey Long here in just a second. He's got a plan called Share the Wealth Plan. Every man be a king. Now, he's a coon-ass from Louisiana, so he's got this funny accent. And in this video, he's going to be talking about a barbecue. And at this barbecue, the super rich, like Andrew Mellon and Carnegie and Rockefeller, they, at the barbecue, they take like 90% of the food and leave 10% for the rest of the people. And they need to get some of that grub back. So every man's going to be a king. Every man's going to have a house. Every man's going to have an automobile. Every man's going to have a radio and all the things that go into that house. Because we're going to take that from the Rockefellers and we're going to give it to everybody else. Now, Roosevelt calls Huey Long in 1936 privately the most dangerous man in America. Because people are listening to Huey Long and they're saying, I like what I hear. Okay? This is full-blown Marxism coming down the pipe. He said, Rockefeller, he's not going to own Standard Oil anymore. The American people are going to own Standard Oil. Okay? So, I give you Huey Long. Some of you might be buying into this. You might feel the burn. Where the heck did Huey go? Where'd he go? I guess I'll click on this. I'm going to have a commercial. to commercial. All right, I give you. You it all.
According to the tables which we have assembled, it is our estimate that 4% of the American people own 85% of the wealth of America, and that over 70% of the people of America don't own enough to pay the debts that they own. How many million went to 42? And we'll let one man take off the table what's intended for 9/10 of the people to eat. The only way you'll ever be able to feed the balance of the people is to make that man come back and bring back some of that grub he got no business with. Now, how are you going to feed the balance of the people? What's Morgan and Baruch and Rockefeller and Mellon going to do with all that grub? They can't eat it. They can't wear the clothes. They can't live in the house. Give them a yacht. Give them a palace. Get them to Reno and give them a new wife when you want it. That's what they want. But when they've got everything on the God's living earth that they can eat and they can wear and they can live in, all that their children can live in and wear and eat, and all their children's children can use, then we got to call Mr. Morgan and Mr. Mellon and Mr. Rockefeller back and say, come back here. Well, come back on this table here that you took away from here. You don't need. Leave something else for the American people to consume. And that's the problem. We're not going to destroy the Gulf Refining Company. We're not going to destroy the Standard Oil Company. But we're going to say that the limit of any one man's stock ownership in the Standard Oil Company is from $3 to $5 million to that individual, and that the balance of the people of America own the balance of what the Standard Oil Company is worth. All right. Then we start from the bottom. That the 25 or more million American families shall have a homestead, a home, and the comforts of a home, including an automobile and a radio, the things it takes in that house to live on. We say to America, 125 million, none shall be too big, none shall be too poor, none shall work too much, none shall be idle. No luxurious mansions empty, none walking the streets, none impoverished, none in pestilence, none in want, but in the land blessed by the smile of the Creator, with everything to be consumed, to be eaten, to be worn, and America will become a land carrying the fruits of the land, not for the favored few, not to satisfy greed, but that all may live in a land in which the Lord has provided an abundance sufficient for the luxury and convenience of the people in general.
Okay, charismatic. He's going to challenge Roosevelt in 1936 with the Democratic nomination. Before he can do that, Huey Long will be gunned down on the steps of the state capitol in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. You can go to the Capitol today and still see the marks from the bullets that missed him on the side of the Capitol. There were bullets that connected with him. He was shot down. Now, Huey Long was a bully. Okay, he bullied people in Louisiana. If you got in his way, he knocked you down. He had his own private police security force that wore uniforms. He's very charismatic. And That scared the crap out of our government. Scared the crap out of Roosevelt. Okay? Now, he's on the far left here. Okay? This is Marxism. Okay? And people, many people, not just in Louisiana, liked what he was saying. Class warfare against the wealthy. Okay? And so, I'll talk a little more Louisiana politics on Wednesday. Have a good one.